I just reminded myself that we are also now live on vertical format. So now that we are live horizontally and vertically, you can choose whatever you decide to choose to view this stream on. I love to provide options for all. So what's up, everybody? Also, big reminder, or just to let you guys know, there is a poll currently on the chat right now asking, will Deadpool and Wolverine be the top grossing movie of 2024? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, in the poll. That is the big movie that everyone's been waiting for. Finally comes out this week. So let us know what your thoughts are on that in the poll right now. Right now on the horizontal poll, it's 50-50. It's split down the middle. On vertical right now, out of one vote, people are saying yes, it is going to be the top grossing film of this year. What's going on, Arnold? Jester, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I had a decent weekend. I had a very good weekend. Was able to relax a little bit. Did some things, watched some things. So we'll talk about all those things about what I watched, and all that. How about you? How was everyone's weekend? Let me know your weekends. Let me know how everybody's doing in the chat. Also, as always, don't forget, hit that like button. Hitting that like button, hitting that like button will put a giant smile on everyone's faces here today. So can't wait to see that. Scorch saying he watched Long Legs and Robot Dreams. What did you think about those two? I haven't seen Robot Dreams yet. It is in my queue to watch. Hopefully I can watch it in the next couple of weeks, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Jester, I know you mentioned that you wanted to watch Long Legs and you were waiting for Long Legs to come out. So let me know if you had a chance to watch that and what did you think about that? So let me know all of that stuff here. If you want to know what's on the topic for today, obviously we will be talking about the weekend box office and how Twisters beat all sorts of expectations. I think I was predicting that it was going to make like 60, maybe 65 million over the weekend. But man, I don't think anyone was expecting it to do what it did this past weekend. So what does that mean? Is it because it's one of those like more traditional type of blockbuster type of movies that people would love to see in theaters? Or is it maybe the star power of Glenn Powell himself? I don't know. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about that. I watched the first part of Cobra Kai season 6, the final season of the series. I'll give my thoughts and review on that. Plus, we'll be talking about the latest episode of Hot D. We'll be having our Hot D conversation. I got my notes. And what I'll say right now is this episode is a prime example of the politics of Westeros, and I loved every minute of it, to be honest with you. You saw politics, you saw propaganda, you saw all the chess pieces moving in place, and I dug it. I really dug it. This was probably one of the more dramatic episodes. The acting is just on a whole other level in this show. It's unbelievable. So we'll talk more about that also later on today. Let's see. Scorch saying Robot Dreams is very New York. You thought of me? Oh, that's interesting. I never heard anyone say that before. So, I need to watch that for sure. Arnold saying found House of the Dragon episode a 3 out of 5. So that's like, it's not bad. If this was on the Rotten Tomatoes scale, that would be fresh. So, you thought it was decent. Let's see. Jester saying, I thought you said you were reviewing Cobra Kai today. I am. I am going to be reviewing season 6. Well, there's only the first 5 episodes is the only episodes I dropped over the weekend. So I will be talking about my thoughts on Cobra Kai. Part 1 of season 6. I believe part 2 is coming out in November, and part 3, the final part, will be coming out next year. So it's interesting that they split it into 3 parts. I personally think they're doing that just to prolong the season and the series, since this is the last season. But I have some speculations, some interesting speculations about what they're going to be trying to do here. Because also keep in mind, I believe next summer, the new Karate Kid movie is going to be coming out. And that's going to be very interesting because you have both Daniel LaRusso and Jackie Chan's teacher from the reboot, the remake with Jaden Smith, going to be in the same movie together. And I think I kind of have an idea on how they're going to be explaining how that could even be possible. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Jester has some notes too. Awesome. We'll talk about the notes. We'll compare and contrast, and we'll see what's up with all of that. Scorch hasn't caught up to House Hot D yet. Scorch, have you started the new season yet? I'm just curious. Arnold saying Cobra Kai was funny. What's going on, Yosef? Tomorrow's school, really, kid? I don't know what that means. I'm not in school, and I'm definitely not a kid. Arnold saying he wants to see the ice scene from the first movie when he destroys those blocks of ice. That was from the second movie, I believe. That was when they were in Japan, where he meets Chosen for the very first time. So I don't know. Is it just me, or is Chosen has become like the comic relief of the show? You know, I found that kind of interesting how his character has pivoted so dramatically, you know, in this series. So I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but yeah, Chosen is just like, he's like Mr. Comic Relief. It's so funny. But Scorch, what were your thoughts on Longlegs? I would love to hear your thoughts on Longlegs and what you thought of that. Jester, did you have a chance to see Longlegs too? I don't know if you heard my question before. I'm curious to know. Also, don't forget, there is a poll in the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are. Will Deadpool and Wolverine be the top movie of this year, money-wise? Will it be the highest grossing movie of 2024? I've been saying this since last year. I think it is. I think it's going to be. I think it's good. It's going to be Barbie level type of excitement for this movie when it finally drops this week. And just today, again, more teaser trailers are coming out. They are heavily in full-on marketing mode with this movie. It's crazy the amount of marketing they're doing. And I'm pretty sure it's on everybody's radar this week. I spoke to someone over the weekend who doesn't really watch movies, but even they mentioned that they think watching Deadpool and Wolverine will be a lot of fun in the theaters when it comes out. So how about that? So even a casual moviegoer would be very much interested in watching this movie when it's out in theaters. So it's very, very fascinating. Arnold saying he heard a phrase from a woman who doesn't want to hear a man. Arnold saying, I like you very much, but let's be friends. Oh, don't you hate that? Don't you hate that? That sucks. That really sucks. That's like the one phrase no one ever wants to hear, especially when they're going on a date with someone for the first time. What's going on, Michael Jackson 2? Have I heard about the Aubrey Wyatt story? No, I have not. What is that? Also, it's kind of funny. Like, it's interesting to see the type of people that show up on the streams, because one of my most popular shorts that I posted on the channel is this footage that I took at the Michael Jackson 40th anniversary of Thriller thing that they had in New York. I think this was last year or 2 years ago. And I feel like a lot of people who are watching that short gets fed into the live streams. So I could see there's a lot of Michael Jackson fans who probably are just popping into this live stream and just wondering, who the hell is this guy talking? Well, I'm the guy who took that video. That's I was the guy who attended that event and took that footage. Yeah, Thriller. Thriller. It's funny too because that event was pretty much open to anyone who could reserve a spot to enter. You had to reserve a spot online, but they didn't charge for it at all. There was like no admission. So Sony spent so much money, and I could tell they spent a lot of money just to promote this thing for what, 3 days, I think it was. Oh, that's interesting. Because of bullies? Is this because of online bullying? That sucks. I didn't know about that. Yeah, that really sucks. So everyone will be wearing pink in memory of Aubrey Wyatt on the 31st of this month. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about that story, but that's very, one, it's very sad. But I feel like we hear a lot of stories like that nowadays. No, in-person school bullies. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's terrible. I hate hearing stories like that. It's just so unfortunate. And I grew up in a time when bullying was like a really big thing too. But I feel like kids today are less equipped mentally to deal with that stuff. I feel like, you know, me growing up in the 80s, especially here in New York, with the type of environment and atmosphere we're in, we're kind of mentally prepared to be tough or tougher. But I feel like nowadays it's harder for kids. Favorite song, Michael Jackson's Behind the Mask. That's a good song. That's a good one. That is indeed a good song. All right. So why don't we talk about some stuff today? Before we get into some of the main topics for today's stream. Who here that are watching right now, who watched Rebel Moon? You know, I think I spoke about Rebel Moon in the past. I said that, you know, it was just a god awful movie, right? And the big interesting part about Rebel Moon this year was that Zack Snyder mentioned that he was going to be releasing a director's cut to Rebel Moon on Netflix. And he was saying a lot of things where it's like the versions of Rebel Moon that we got are the versions that Netflix wanted, not necessarily what he wanted. So the director's cut was going to be his main vision of Rebel Moon that he wants us to go all watch. I think it's just another way of expanding and elongating this franchise of his. I don't know how people, in my opinion, who didn't like the first two parts of Rebel Moon would want to go back and watch his director's cut. But he released a new trailer today for the director's cut of Rebel Moon. It's a red band trailer. So it's going to be interesting to see what is going to be happening here. Michael Jackleston says they wear beat a jacket and glove right now. Awesome. Rebel Moon is a movie from Zack Snyder, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day, evening. And yeah, it'll be cool to catch you on the next stream. Arnold saying, found out today that the actor who played Hagrid was dead. Oh yeah. Yeah, that guy, I think he passed away a couple years ago or something like that. Yeah, that was pretty sad, you know, especially since Hagrid was such a beloved character. And that guy is like a great character actor too, outside of Harry Potter. What's going on, T? Haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing well. Your full message didn't come through, so I don't know if you wanted to say something, but always appreciate you showing up on the streams, as always. Like I said, I hope you're doing well and you're having a good week so far. So yeah, so I wanted to check out this trailer for Rebel Moon. I think I'm going to end up watching it just because I want to... My philosophy is, before I crap on anything, I want to watch it first so that I can properly crap on something. And I'm not saying that I'm watching this for the main purpose of wanting to crap all over it. That was never my intention when I saw the first part of Rebel Moon. It just so happens that that movie just really sucked, in my opinion. I know there are a lot of people out there who loved the movie, who enjoyed it, and that's great. You know, everyone gets affected differently when they watch movies. You know, that's the great thing about movies. It's very subjective. So I just want to check out to see what's in store for us with this new director's cut, because from what I'm hearing, it's supposed to be a completely different movie. You know, what that means, I don't know, but let's check it out and see what exactly that all means. So, see, even Arnold's saying, like, to be, like, in his honest opinion, he doesn't think the movie was so bad, and that's fine. That's fine, you know. But for me, I just thought it was so shallow, very, very shallow movie. But again, we all have our different opinions when it comes to things, right? So yeah, so let's check out this new trailer for Rebel Moon. All right, let me just make sure that this is here, that is there. All right, let's go.
Go dig my grave, both wide and deep.
Who's this female robot? Who the hell is that?
Place a marble stone at my head and
I feel like he borrowed those characters from Dune. More slow motion. Oh, the little princess, right? Didn't something happen with her in the movies? I forgot. Oh wow, damn. I will say visually he is good at visuals. He is very good at visuals. And slow motion. Oh damn, this is a bloody ass trailer. What the hell is that? This is, oh man, that was very Japanese horror porn. Whoa! We got some naked people.
At least I die on the side of honor.
Is there still such a thing?
Yeah, he's really trying to be so dramatic with this. Man. August 2nd, huh? How long is this going to be? Is this going to be like 4 or 5 hours? What is that? What is that? What's going on here?
Will be my vengeance.
Is that a dream or is that real? What is going on here? Oh, there's going to be 2 chapters for this too? Oh, jeez. All right. Well, so I'll tell you this. And hold on. Let's say Arnold saying the director's cut is bullshit. They play too much Elden Ring. It does look very Elden Ring-ish, doesn't it? What's going on, Sparkling Stars? This is the trailer to Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon that's releasing on Netflix in August. And it looks like we're getting 2 parts for this one too. So get ready for more hours of this type of content. T saying visually he does great. His storytelling, character development is ass. Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with Rebel Moon, at least the 2 versions that we got, right, was one, I didn't feel any emotion or any type of connection or ties to these characters at all. I still, and I say this just in complete honesty, with not trying to, you know, throw shade at anyone, but Sofia Boutella, for me personally, is not a leading actress. She's a great action actress. She can do action scenes and she's very physical and she can do great stunts and all that. But I don't see her as a very strong leading lady at all. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. So I don't understand, or I don't get the whole push for her to be in front and the main character in this movie series. For me, it just doesn't work, you know. And again, it's like there are a lot of interesting concepts in Rebel Moon, but like I said, what we got, it didn't feel like it was fully fleshed out correctly. There's so much more focus on visual effects, the slow motion, the action scenes, that all the scenes that are supposed to really get you to feel closer to these characters and feel that emotional kind of connection just fell flat. And that's why I felt like the movie itself was very shallow. Here in the trailers, they are definitely showing a lot of emotion, a lot of... It looks like they may be trying to expand more on the character development of Sofia Boutella's character, a little bit more insights on the whole royalty that we didn't really get to see a lot of. It looks mostly the same, with some additional things that we didn't see before. Like, what was that big, giant, robotic, sentient thing that we saw there? I didn't get that. I didn't know what that was. I don't believe we saw that in any of the previous two movies. So it just looks really weird. But I'll check it out. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a chance. Like I said, before I can properly diss something, I want to check it out for myself. If anything, I would love to see more backstory of the main villain, the bad guy, the kind of like the Nazi kind of like guy. I thought his character was very strong and interesting, but we didn't get enough of the background. T saying hoping to get more of Charlie Hunnam. That would be interesting. It'll just be nice to get more backstory on everybody, you know, honestly. If I'm to be completely honest here, because I felt like the introductions of the characters were just moments, right? Everyone got their like hero shine moment as their introduction. It was almost like, I call this like the roll call type of movie filmmaking format, where instead of properly and organically introducing characters to your story, you have your main core characters going somewhere and then having this person pop up, right? And they're doing something extravagant. They're having their big action moment. And then all of a sudden, bam, here I am. It's like, oh, I like you. Join our squad. Okay. And then move on to the next thing, right? So if anything, I'm hoping that he could do more organic introductions and more background story on each character. It's like, spoiler alert, some of these characters died in the movie. And when they did, I didn't feel it. I was just like, oh, that person dead. That's too much. That's too bad. All right, move on. I didn't get to feel it emotionally at all. Especially when the big thing happened at the very end of part 2. I was just like, oh, okay. You know, after spending hours upon hours, what felt like hours upon hours of watching people just harvesting. I mean, I felt like, well, at least 30 minutes of part 2 was just watching people harvest crops. You know, what was the point in all that? And it's all in slow motion, so it felt even longer than that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm not like eagerly anticipating this or, you know, chomping at the bit for it. But like I said, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a chance. What about you? In the chat, let me know. Are you going to be checking out this director's cut or director's cuts of Rebel Moon? Apparently we're getting 2 parts of it, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on. Kako, well, that's a funny name, Kako. First one to watch movies, Velma. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What's going on, Stella? Shriners Hospitals for Children. All right. Well, big shout out to them. Star-Lord's in the house. What's going on, Star-Lord? Nice to see you as always. I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you're having a good Monday so far. So we just checked out the trailer to the director's cut of Rebel Moon coming out in August. And I'll be honest, it looks more of the same, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, also a reminder that there is a poll in the chat. Chime in and let us know your thoughts if Deadpool and Wolverine will be the highest grossing movie of 2024, because I think it will be. And also, don't forget, hit that like button. every like that we get on these streams, it brings tons and tons of smiles to everyone's faces. And you can say that you contributed to making someone very happy, me included. So thank you for all your support. So Lord, I had to check on my YouTube app to see if you're live. Oh, you didn't get a notification? Well, that's a big surprise. I feel like YouTube has been messing up a lot with not sending out notifications to everybody. And that is disappointing. But unfortunately, I can't have any control over that. So I do appreciate you checking it out. And I guess it helps that I stick to a steady schedule every week so that at least you guys know when I'm going to be here and online. So I appreciate that, Star-Lord. T saying most likely, hoping to see if any development happens, but who knows. So T is going to be checking out the director's cut, just like me. Again, I just want to see what happens. I want to see if it really feels like a different movie. Because I will say this, his director's cut of Justice League, I actually really liked. I liked it so much better than what we got theatrically for that movie. And I thought he did a great job with that. So if it's anything like that, well, maybe that would be awesome. But if it's not, then I guess I'm not losing anything but the hours I've spent on watching them, right? So I was saying, no, it's not notifications. I was playing a game. Oh, so maybe you did get a notification. It's just you were so enthralled in your game, you just couldn't look at your phone at the moment, right? What game are you playing, Star-Lord? Let us know what game you're playing. I was pretty busy this past weekend that I wasn't able to really play any game. Not even the new Nintendo World Championships that I got. I didn't have a chance to really play it. So, but hoping to get a chance to play it this week. Also, another big announcement. Again, thank you so much. Those of you who were there live on Friday, saw it happening in real time. The channel crossed over 10,000 subscribers on Friday. So I'm very, very thankful. So for those of you who weren't there, I want to thank you all again for your huge support. I couldn't have done it without all of you, really, honestly. And I love what I do here. I have a lot of fun with you guys. I will be planning a special stream for everybody to kind of celebrate 10,000 subscribers. Maybe we'll play a game together. Maybe we'll do some trivia, something like that. So I'm trying to think not only what to do, but when to do it so that I can announce it to everybody. And hopefully everyone will join in and hang out during that time, because it's a big achievement, big accomplishment here on YouTube. So I'm very thankful and grateful for it all. And like I said, couldn't have done it without all of you guys. So very, very thankful for all of you. Sorry, saying I have to keep switching internet cable wire from Xbox to Android tablet. Oh, you're playing Assassin's Creed Origins? Okay. And soon we'll be playing Mortal Kombat 11. Awesome. All right, cool. Very, very cool stuff. If anyone else is playing any games, let us know what game you're currently playing right now in the chat. All right, let's talk about the box office, because there's a lot to talk about as far as box office is concerned. And there's a lot of interesting tidbits that we're learning, or I feel like we're starting to learn with the current box office right now. At the start of the stream, I did mention when I was talking about box office that my own personal prediction on Twisters was around 60 to 65 million. I believe early estimates were coming in around 50 to 55. Then as the weekend started, they readjusted those predictions to 70, 72. But it ended up beating all of that stuff and overachieving the past weekend. So let's look at these numbers right now, because this is all very fascinating and interesting here, to say the least. So number one, obviously, Twisters came out on top with $80.5 million. And let's see, there was this thing on, here we go, on Twitter with some highlights of this accomplishment from Twisters. So it's the biggest opening weekend ever for any type of disaster film. So if you go through all the disaster films that came out like in the 70s, in the 80s, then in the late 90s, early 2000s, all of that, even more recent disaster movies like Gravity and all that, Twisters has now officially the biggest opening ever for that genre. It's also the second biggest opening for a live action film this year. Number one, I think, still goes to Dune. I think that's the number. We'll look it up. And then only $2 million behind the opening of Oppenheimer from last year. So that is some fascinating numbers and good timing for this too. I think, this is like a great time for this to come out. I feel like people are gearing up and getting themselves ready for Deadpool and Wolverine. And this, in a way, I think this was like a nice little appetizer for all of that. So I think it's really, really fascinating. So let's look at, 80.5 million domestically, but when you include international box office worldwide altogether, again, this is just one weekend, 3 days, it pulled in $123.9 million. I believe this is just shy of what Inside Out accomplished during their opening weekend when they came out with 150 million-ish. I'm just rounding it out there. So big performance with Twisters, and we're seeing a lot of decent performance out of these summer movies so far. But like I said in a previous stream before, I feel like the summer season has started later than we're accustomed to. A lot of the movies that usually come out in April and May are usually top performing movies, but it didn't happen that time this year. This time, I feel like all the movies that really started coming out maybe end of May or June are the ones that are performing the best. And I think it has a lot to say about people wanting to spend time for their summers, going to the movies. Maybe people are now out of school, so it allows them more time to do things together. The holidays come into play a lot, especially when you think of like Memorial Day, July 4th weekend, all those things like that. So I do feel like we are feeling a more traditional summer box office this year than we have in previous years. So it's good to see, to be honest with you. And it's quite refreshing. Now, they mentioned that this was the second highest grossing live action film to come out this year so far. So let's look at what we are seeing as far as this. So I was right. Pulling up the numbers so far for the year, Dune 2 is the highest grossing live action film of the year so far. And I think this is the one that owns the highest grossing opening weekend for a live action film this far. So very, very interesting to see how that's all playing out there. So I think this upcoming weekend, Twisters, everything that's out right now, Twisters, Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, Longlegs, all of these movies in the top 5 are going to hurt big time when Deadpool and Wolverine comes out, because everyone is going to be watching Deadpool and Wolverine. And I highly doubt you're going to see a lot of spillage going into movies like Twisters and all that, because by now, everyone has seen Despicable Me 4 who wanted to see it. Everyone has seen Inside Out 2 multiple times. Longlegs does have some legs, as we could see in this chart right now for this past weekend. And it's the only horror film right now that has a lot of people's attention. So that may still do well. But everything else is going to suffer big time the moment that Deadpool and Wolverine comes out this weekend. And I think Twisters is going to suffer maybe from like a 60% or more drop from what they're seeing this past weekend. So perfect timing for them. At least they took advantage of it, right? Started saying, I love the live streams. It's just I'm not good at schedules. Haha, neither was I for a while. Lost 30 minutes already. It's all good. You're still here, and that's all that matters. Arnold saying 80.5, your bank account. I wish I could have 1% of this total. I don't ask for much, but 1% of that would be brilliant. Started saying I'm not watching just Deadpool and Wolverine, but the X-Men. Let's fucking go! That's right. Michael Jackson back here. What's going on? You should react to Michael Jackson's performance of Beat It in Bucharest. I would, but I also can't, because it's copyrighted. Anything that's copyrighted music, it just won't fly on YouTube. I wish I could do stuff like that. I wish I could like do live reactions to movies and all, but YouTube will not have it, and I would be in big trouble. I could potentially get my channel banned for that. So unfortunately cannot do that. Arnold, I don't know why. I'm shocked at this say, but exciting for Deadpool. Marvel has disappointed me too much lately. That's valid though. That's very valid. And you know, your hesitation for wanting to be excited for Deadpool is understandable. But the one thing I will say is that, you know, the Deadpool movies have always been a lot of fun, in my opinion. And if anything, you're going to be having a good time watching this movie. At least that's what I think. The great thing about Deadpool and Wolverine is that you never know what you're going to end up seeing. You don't know who's going to pop up. You don't know, you know, who's going to be a cameo, right? Who they'll introduce. You just never know. Yeah, they already spoiled a lot of stuff in the trailers that we got recently, but that is probably like a small fraction of what we're probably going to see. So it'll be really interesting to see what's going to pop up. And I do feel like this will usher in the next phase of the MCU. And it will dictate really what we're going to be planning to see, or what they're going to be planning to have for us in the next couple of phases. So yeah, like Michael Jackson said, Deadpool is Marvel Jesus. And whenever you have Marvel Jesus on screen, you can't go wrong at all. Right? Solar saying I can do music. But I'm not sure about live stream shutting down. Copyright claims don't ban channels. Well, it depends. It depends if if you get a strike from the copyright holder directly and you don't obey to it, that could lend to potential having your channel be shut down. I've done so much research on this stuff because when I started my early YouTube stuff, I was doing a lot of, you know, trailer reactions and all those things, and I went through the gamut with that stuff. Also, I've seen it where people will show copyrighted stuff on live streams, and I get a warning. I would see a warning saying that you are showing potentially copyrighted stuff, and that will end up shutting down the live stream too. So if you don't take care of that, they do shut down the live streams. Not with everything, Star-Lord. Not with everything. I do currently have a community strike on my channel because in a private video, I was live reacting to Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. It wasn't public. It wasn't, like, you know, it wasn't advertised. It was a private stream. And because of that, I had a strike added to my channel. And when you get 3 of those, that closes your entire channel down for good. So, you know, I think YouTube will act based off of the kind of complaints they get from the copyright owner. So you can dispute it, but if the owner doesn't want to agree to it, then at the end of the day, you lose as a channel. What's going on, Tiny Gucci? Nice to see you here. Arnold, Juggernaut was so cool. I want him back. Reynolds had a lot more control too. T, that is absolutely correct. It is coming out this Friday, Michael Jackalston. I'll just call you Jackalston. That's easier to read, I think. So you would be adding original commentary and making the music videos unique. You must dispute that under fair use. Yeah, but that doesn't always work. I've disputed stuff under fair use using the same arguments too, and they have been denied. So again, it's sometimes it's, you know, roll of the dice and who you're dealing with as far as the copyright holder is. But anyway, this is not YouTube copyright discussion. This is not YouTube channel management discussion. Let's go back to box office stuff. So in number 2, we had Despicable Me 4 pulling in $23.8 million domestically. Overall, let's see, let's look at the overall numbers. Very strong domestic numbers, just shy of $260 million. And worldwide, it already crossed over $500 million. So very, very interesting stuff there. Again, Despicable Me 4, this franchise is not going anywhere anytime soon. Inside Out 2 still is in the top 3 with $12.8 million this past weekend. This already broke $1 billion previously, but it looks like it's slowly approaching $1.5 billion worldwide. So this is by far the juggernaut of the year so far. Guess the big question that ties very well closely to the poll that I have in the chat right now: will Deadpool and Wolverine beat this number? Because right now, this is the number to beat this year at the box office. It'll be very interesting to see what Deadpool and Wolverine are going to do. Long Legs definitely showing its legs and how long they are, being in the top 5. Pulling in $11.9 million this past weekend. Let's see what it's done so far. Worldwide, 52.1. Not bad, honestly. I don't think this movie costs a lot to make. So, it still baffles me how Long Legs and Maxine aren't neck to neck right now. Because you would think with the popularity of the X franchise and the Maxine franchise, that Maxine has not been performing well at all in the theaters. So I find that very fascinating, but I think that's going to change once it's available for streaming. Quiet Place Day 1 is in 5th place, $6.3 million, $127 million domestically, $241.6 worldwide. I think for that movie, for this franchise, that's a very good number. Fly Me to the Moon, the rom-com with Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson, $3.3 million. Let's see. Worldwide, 30.6. Not great. But I feel like this is one of those movies people are waiting for to stream when it's available to stream at home. Bad Boys Ride or Die, 2.6 million. 189 million domestically. I think, where are we now worldwide with this? 388. Not bad. That franchise, surprisingly, is still doing well. And then for the rest of the top 10, you have Maxine, Bike Riders, Horizon, and a new movie that was limitedly released called Oddity, which is another horror film that I think is going to be releasing more worldwide this weekend. So that is the box office numbers for you there. Again, great stuff from Twisters. I think this was a perfect time for it to come out. But everything here in the top 5 will drop tremendously once Deadpool and Wolverine come out this weekend, because that's going to be a juggernaut of a film when that comes out. But let me know what your predictions are for the box office this week. If Kevin Davis is around, I would love to hear Kevin's thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine's expectations at the box office this weekend. Starlord saying, damn it, I just wanted to hear MJ. Beat it, beat it. Well, watch it now.
I'm gonna come.
T saying Wade and Logan should be able to beat it. I think so too, for sure. I think it's going to be, we are going to be blown away, I think, with the popularity of this movie when it comes out. And I do feel that they have a lot of pull internationally as well. I think this franchise is beloved. Plus, again, Hugh Jackman. Everyone loved Hugh Jackman's performance as Logan, as Wolverine. So I think people are really going to be excited for this. Plus, it's also a fun week for this movie to come out with San Diego Comic-Con starting this week, this Thursday. So there's going to be a lot of buzz, a lot of hype over this movie. And with Marvel having 2 panels, 1 panel dedicated just for Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh man, the marketing blitz is going to be nonstop, and we've already seen it. So it's going to be tremendous this week. Star saying he wants to party with LOWKEY. I just want to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time. Jackleston asking, what about the new Michael Jackson biopic that's coming out in 2025? Yeah, that looks interesting, honestly. Was that directed by Antoine Fuqua, I believe, right? I love that they got, is that his nephew or a cousin? Whoever they got as the main actor looks very much like MJ. It's fascinating. You know, the only thing I will say is that I hope they don't shy away from the more controversial stuff, like how he was treated by his father, the growing up, the expectations, maybe some of, the accusations. I don't expect them to show everything about that, but at least don't shy away from it. Don't pretend like it never happened, right? Don't pretend like it was never a talking point. So I hope they kind of like go into that and maybe give us more about his relationship with the rest of his siblings and how competitive it was for a long time. I think that's going to be one of the best performing biopics when that comes out. Because if you remember, when they did that biopic about his last tour that he was supposed to do before he died, that was, I think to this day, still the top performing concert film ever to come out, until the Taylor Swift one came out. And I think the Taylor Swift one beat it, I think. Speaking about beating it. So I think when this biopic comes out for Michael Jackson, that's going to be a major one. And I think that's going to perform really well in the theaters. Arnold saying one of his favorite shows this year was Twisted Metal. I saw the first 2 episodes at a screening. I was invited to the premiere. And it looked funny. It was like a fun time, but there was something about it that never had me want to go and watch the rest of it, at least not at that time. And you guys already know how I am with TV. I'm always very behind. I'm always very slow. So it's still on my list of things to watch. I just haven't had a chance to yet. So, that's just how I am when it comes to TV and movies and all that. Well, not movies, more like TV. I will say that. Star Wars saying careful though, because even singing a song can cause copyright claims. Yeah, I know. Twisted Metal is still promoting. Arnold saying I love the clown. Yeah, who's that? He's a wrestler, right? On this show, he's the guy that is Sweet Tooth. He's Samoa Joe from, is it AEW or TNA or one of those? Jackelson saying his favorite show is Reacher. I heard a lot of good stuff about Reacher. That is definitely a movie that I would love to watch when I have a chance. So you saw an ad for Twisted Metal? Oh, probably why? Wait, did Twisted Metal get nominated for any Emmy? Maybe that's why. Maybe it's a lot of for your consideration advertising. I wonder. I think Shogun is going to run away with a lot of awards come Emmy time. Again, another show that I haven't had a chance to watch yet. I'm so behind on things. It's kind of crazy. But what I'm not behind on is Hot D, House of the Dragon. But before I talk about House of the Dragon, I do want to talk about Cobra Kai. So let's talk about that right now. And so Cobra Kai, when they announced that the final season was going to drop, they announced that they were going to split it up into 3 parts, right? So we just got the first part that dropped, which is just 5 episodes. And the one thing I love about Cobra Kai is that it's such an easy binge watch, honestly, because every episode is just a little over 30 minutes. They don't usually go too long. I feel like the last episode 5, was the longest, right? So it's an easy watch, right? And I've loved this series ever since it debuted on YouTube, YouTube TV. That was the only way to watch this. And I think the first 2 seasons debuted on YouTube TV before Netflix picked it up and put it onto their service. So I was always very happy that more and more people had a chance to watch it, because honestly, no one was watching it when it was on YouTube TV, because no one had YouTube TV or YouTube Red or whatever they used to call it back in the day. So obviously with a wider audience, you could see that the popularity of this show blew up big time. And I was happy because this was one of those things, rare occasions, where they had a show that they took an idea or the property from an 80s film franchise, and they found a way to bring it back in a very interesting way. And they brought it with a different point of view too, a perspective on the other side. What if we looked at it from Johnny's point of view? Maybe LaRusso is the bad guy. And they explored a lot of that stuff. And it's something that Disney does too with some of their properties, where they kind of try to humanize the villain, right? And they gave Johnny a heart, more, they made you as an audience be more empathetic towards his character. But they didn't really make him 100% redeemable. He still has his flaws, right? So I love how they did that, and I love how they played around with that idea and that concept and all that. So every season, they've been exploring more and more about the relationship between LaRusso and Johnny, and then, of course, the relationship with the kids, right? In season 5, they basically had this big, crazy blowout where all the kids were up against each other. And it finally was the moment where Cobra Kai, the dojo, the name itself was, I guess you could say, was destroyed. Terry Silver, who came back, is now in jail. But then we were also teased that old man, what's his face? This guy who never seems to ever go away. Hold on, let me pull up because I'm so bad with names. It sucks. I think I'm losing my mind. But John Kreese escaped jail in a weird kind of very unbelievable way. Almost kind of like what we saw in Silence of the Lambs with the big prison escape that happened there in that movie. But he got away, right? So he's still out there roaming around, and we don't know what's going to happen from there, right? And you have LaRusso, Johnny Lawrence, and Chosen all kind of in agreement and in cahoots with each other, creating this one mega dojo that combines everything together. And there you go, right? So everyone should be in harmony. At least that was what we expected. So the big things that happened in this part 1 of this season, started saying, I've seen episode 1 already of this season of Cobra Kai, but I need to catch up. Okay, I'm not going to spoil too much for everyone here who hasn't seen it yet. Arnold saying it felt like Escape Plan 3. Absolutely. What happened to Peyton's face? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm glad someone said it, because I feel like she lost a lot of weight, and I think her face got affected a little bit by it. But I don't want to, make fun of her and all those things, because we don't know exactly what's happening, if something actually did happen to her and all that. But she does look different. Mary Mauser looks very different too. I feel like it's either her muscle is making her look fatter, or it's like she gained some weight. I don't know. It's like the effect of baby fat in reverse in a certain way. But you also notice like a lot of the kids and the background kids are growing up so fast, right? You have the little kid with the glasses, like he looks so grown up now. And there's just so many other kids that look so fully grown up and all that. But basically, the whole things that are happening so far in this part is you have the kids who are all training together under one dojo, but you still have a little rift between Johnny and Daniel about what to name the dojo, because Johnny is still holding on to Eagle Fang. And then he was tempted to maybe try to bring back the Cobra Kai name back, but he said, I don't want anything to do with that, because that was Kreese's legacy, and that's not my legacy. I want my legacy to move on. But he also understands you kind of have to take on the whole Miyagi philosophy of balance. So he's okay giving up Eagle Fang if it just makes things better for not only himself, but for the kids. You have some of the other kids who are still trying to deal with the fact that maybe what they were taught through Cobra Kai was not right. And you could see that there's still some conflicts there. But you have, for the most part, the kids in unison working together, because you have this major worldwide tournament that's happening. And, this could mean a lot for the dojo and a lot for the kids who are going to compete in it. They threw a little monkey wrench in it because they limit who can participate per dojo. So now they've created this tension within each dojo, that only 6 kids can compete. So of course you're going to have inner fighting, people thinking they deserve this spot over this person. So they play a lot on that. And then you have Kreese, who seems to be always finding his way in attaching himself to another dojo. And this time it's a Korean dojo that's taught by one of the teachers that we saw in the previous season, right? So he's using his own philosophies and his own ways of Cobra Kai to expand the Cobra Kai teachings through this Korean dojo, so that right away they set it up that you have this major dojo is going to be against this other major dojo, and there's just so like multiple plots happening at once. And the biggest thing that happens here that I'm going to speculate will explain how Daniel LaRusso is going to end up in a movie with Jackie Chan and that version of that teacher from the Jaden Smith Karate Kid, is that they come across this old trunk of Miyagi's because they're fixing up his place, because Chosen is now staying with them, and he looks like he's going to be part of the family now. And like I said before, I agree, Star-Lord, Chosen is funny. He's like the comic relief of the series, and it's kind of funny how his character changed so much, right? But they come across this trunk, and it looks almost as if Miyagi led a different life that he never shared with Daniel. Not the same time he was teaching Daniel. This was like when he was younger, right? And what he found in this trunk was currency from China. So there's kind of hints that Miyagi got himself in some trouble in the States, and he had to flee for a little bit. And it looks like he may have fled to China. Hence, how you're probably going to understand why Jackie Chan is the person that he is, and how that's going to end up becoming a tie. So my speculation is, with parts 2 and 3, we'll learn more about this other life that Miyagi had, and how that's going to tie into Jackie Chan's character when the movie comes out next year. And also with the new pupil that is going to popping up, because I believe this new pupil, the new star of the new Karate Kid movie, is going to be from China. So I think that's how all of that is going to play out, But yeah, so this part ends in a weird, crazy twist cliffhanger, right? And I'm not going to spoil it here, but let's just say someone who was supposedly okay now with everything, student-wise, something happened, and their mentality has flipped, and they have joined the enemy. And when that happened, I was just like, oh, what? Was not expecting it, but very, very interesting there. So yeah, so overall this first part was interesting. It felt a lot like setup, and it also felt very schlocky in a way. It felt more comedic than normal, and it felt really more like a TV show than any of the past seasons felt, where you had a conflict in every episode, and it was usually resolved by the end of the episode. And I know we got the same stuff also in previous seasons, but I felt like it wasn't like that in every episode. And I felt like in this part, every episode followed a very formulaic TV formula, where it was conflict, end of episode, resolution, carry on, move on, right? So it just felt that way. So I don't know if that was done on purpose, if maybe that is a result of splitting this season into 3 parts, finding ways to elongate and have this season play out longer than it needs to. I don't know. But in a way, I felt like it kind of threw me off in a way that I was just watching this season just to watch it. I wasn't really that invested like I was in previous seasons. But of course, out of curiosity, I do want to know how this series is going to end. And I will be watching parts 2 and 3. But I didn't feel as strong with this one part here. If I was to rate this part, I would give it a 1 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 stars Letterboxd scale. But that last ending, the last cliffhanger ending, I gave that a 5 out of 5 because that was a nice little twist that threw us for a loop as a viewer. That makes me super excited to see part 2. Unfortunately, though, we have to wait till November to see it. So that's a little bit of a bummer there. But yeah, those are just my thoughts on Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 1. So Jester, I don't know if you're still around. I know you said you had some notes yourself on Cobra Kai. Would love to hear your thoughts on this part and this show so far. Solar Daniel will definitely school Mr. Han on the difference between karate and kung fu. Let's see. Arnold saying, what about actors in contract? What about increasing and decreasing during filming? How is this regulated in Hollywood? Arnold, what do you mean by that? Can you explain a little bit more? Star-Lord, Jackie Chan should be a teacher to Daniel-san. I don't want to see a new kid. Well, they're always going to have to be a new kid, right? There's always going to have to be someone outside of the main characters that you're used to root for. And if they're thinking franchise, and if they're thinking of additional movies, or maybe it doesn't look like they're going to be expanding on the Cobra Kai show at all, given that this is the final season. But if they want to kind of like expand and create a new set of movies or whatever, there has to be a new person that we do have to follow, right? Because Daniel's old. You know, Ralph Macchio, even though he still looks young, you could tell he's getting old and he's getting slow. That's one thing that I found it as kind of painful to watch in this part, where it looks like he got a lot slower. The guy who plays Chosen also looks very slow. William Zabka still looks okay, but yeah, it just looks a little off. So I'm curious. It'll be really curious and interesting to see what's going to happen moving forward with the entire franchise. It would be like a reboot sequel. Yeah, I think it's gonna be like a combo of the two for sure. T saying, so the movie The Next Karate Kid has nothing to do with anything. I think it will. And I think this show, this final season, is going to end tying up to the movie that's coming out. And that's one of the reasons I also think they kind of split it up, because they want to pace it out so that by the end of part 3, that's going to tie directly to the movie when it comes out. And if my speculation is accurate, we're going to end up seeing probably Daniel, maybe with Chosen, I don't know, but Daniel definitely looking more into this other life that Miyagi led and why it got him to China. And then I think that's where we're going to eventually see the tie-up or the tie-in with Jackie Chan and whoever this new kid is going to be, you know. So I do think the new Karate Kid movie is going to be a part of that. Oh, about the Hilary Swank one. Yeah, I think she gave an interview last year about she doesn't feel like her character is going to be tying in at all to any of this, but who knows? Maybe we'll be surprised. I don't know. We still have 2 parts to go, so I don't know. I think having her character at least show up once would make a perfect, like, kind of just a completion of this universe, because that is the one thing that I would love to see show up in this, because we've already seen, you know, Elizabeth Shue's character pop in. We saw freaking this crazy guy from part 3 show up, right? You know, being a part of this universe and all that. Of course, we had Terry Silver in there, Kreese. So it would be great to see them just finish up all the tie-ins with her character popping up and showing up, you know. Yeah, she is the praying mantis. Daniel will point out that Mr. Han reminds him of Mr. Miyagi. I'm sure that may come up for sure. Arnold saying, example, an actor increases during filming and becomes fat. How is this regulated? I mean, they do have continuity people who are supposed to control how people look and all that. So I think they try to do it as best as they can, but obviously there may be instances where maybe they can't. Again, we don't know why maybe Peyton List looks a little different this season. We don't know why Mary Mauser looks different. There could be something, I don't know, maybe medically going on with them. But usually every series, even movies, they have a continuity person that's supposed to always make sure that, all right, if we ended this movie or if we ended this episode with this cliffhanger and this person looks like this, when we pick up filming again, this is everything that she was wearing or they were wearing. This is how their hair was. This is how their body looked. So they try their best to kind of keep things in check like that. But, you know, there will be obviously differences, especially if a kid grows up. Look at Stranger Things. That's like a perfect example of that, where the seasons are so far in between that these kids are growing up so big, so fast, that it's hard. They can't, you know, you can't shrink them back down. You can't make them look like little kids again. You know, we're still supposed to believe that these kids are in high school when it looks like they're freaking in college, you know? So that's why I'm excited, but I'm also going to feel weird about Stranger Things when the last season comes out, because all those kids are going to look like mega adults at this point. It's a perfect fit for her because of these crazy kids in the Karate Wars. Yeah, she could be the one that tries to put balance, because it seems like in this part one, there's a lot of talk about balance, right? And maybe she's the one that could help put balance into everything. She can teach Daniel a thing or two. Well, Johnny hits on. Well, remember, Johnny is with Miguel's mom, and she's pregnant, so they're about to have a baby. Was I ever in a movie? No, I was never in a movie. No, I was in a short film that me and my friends made, but that was for our eyes only. We never released it publicly or anything like that. But I was never. I never thought about acting or anything like that. So I don't think that's really my thing. I would just, you know, speaking of, you know, who would be hitting on who and all that, it'll be nice to see Chosen get back together with Kumiko, because that's something that we're currently missing. It was nice seeing Kumiko come back too during that one season. That was really, really nice to see. Him and Chosen has a karate crush on her skills. I don't know why you are either, Star-Lord, but it's your typical random stuff, and I love it. I'm all for it. Arnold, you want to see me in Star Wars? Me versus Darth Plagueis? I want to be, you know, if I were to be in a scene with Darth Plagueis, I want to be, if he's the one that's like looking out of the cave, just like peering out like that, I want to be the guy behind him that's kind of peering up over his shoulder. I just want to be like that. Like, what are you looking at, Plagueis? Who is that? I want to be that guy. All right. Again, a reminder to everyone that is joining in for the first time, don't forget, hit that like button. Everyone here would be extremely happy and appreciative of that. Also, don't forget, cast your vote. Will Deadpool and Wolverine be the highest grossing movie of this year? Let us know. Currently, in the vertical stream, out of 16 votes, 69%, 69. 69% says yes, 31% says no. And then in the horizontal stream, we have, out of 7 votes, 71% says yes, 29% says no. So. Yeah. Yeah, Arnold, that's what I want to be. I want to be like that guy. It's like, ooh, who's that? She's cute, right, Plagueis? Plagueis, who's that over there? She's cute. Started saying it would be funny if Johnny stomped on the bug and said "No mercy" right in front of her. Oh, jeez. I think no matter what happens during this last season of Cobra Kai, Kreese has to die, I think, because it's harder for me to keep believing that this guy can survive as long as he's survived. You know, he has to pass away somehow. He has to just be totally beaten, and that's it. Because this guy has more lives than anyone's I have ever seen in any series. He is like the true Thanos of this entire show. What's going to compete with Deadpool and Wolverine movie later this year? Not a whole lot, honestly. I mean, the only one thing that I could think about that may have a potential or have the possibility of competing with Deadpool and Wolverine is Wicked. Because you will have a lot of diehard theater and musical people wanting to watch that movie. Plus, it's coming out during the holidays. It's like a perfect family film for a lot of people to go watch. But I don't think it's going to at all. And I'm not saying it will. But out of everything that I'm seeing, like, you know, for the remainder of the year, that has the one potential to do. And Moana 2. That also has the potential. Because how the first one is so beloved by so many people. But it's not, there's no chance. In my opinion, there's no chance. T say I'm not sure if that Lord of the Rings animation will. Yeah, I don't think that will either. It looks interesting. It does, but I don't think it has a chance to compete. The Rock has whiskey? I didn't know that. What's the name of The Rock's whiskey brand? You had it? How was it? Also, I brought this up last week. That Transformers 1 animated movie coming out. I don't know. Me personally, I feel like it's looking terrible with the latest trailer that I saw. It's not looking that good, in my honest opinion. I think that might end up becoming a disappointment. I could be wrong, and I hope I am. But it looks too kiddish, too childish. Yeah, definitely, obviously not for me. Not meant for me at all. T saying it looks goofy. Yeah, I think it looks kind of goofy. But like I said, who knows? Maybe it'll end up becoming interesting for people. Also, one last thing I did want to bring up. I was just reminded about this because I was looking at the cast of Cobra Kai. There's an actress that we saw. I think she popped up in the last season. Her name is Una O'Brien, and she plays Devon. She's like an Asian girl. She was one of the top students of Johnny's Cobra Kai, or Eagle Fang, I should say. And I said I had this very same complaint about her last season, and I feel like it's gotten even worse in this season. She overacts her ass off, meaning she is way much of an overactor above anything else. Everything is like amplified 100%. Her facial reactions, her dialogue, how she delivers things. And I don't know, man. It's like, why is she on this show? It makes the show feel very schlocky. And yeah, I wish the directors could just sit down with her and say, you could tone it down just a little bit. You don't have to do like, oh my God, Sensei, I can't believe she's doing that to me. There's no way I'm going to be able to lose against that guy. It's just like, whoa, tone it down. Just a little bit. It's like I'm watching a B movie whenever she pops up on screen. T, did you watch this part of Cobra Kai? Arnold, you I think you watched it, right? Bring in Ernie Reyes Jr. Why not? When are we talking about House of the Dragons? Well, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about that hot D. We'll be talking about how hot D in the city. What's going on, Anna? I don't think I ever mentioned anything like what you're mentioning, but at the same time, I don't talk politics here on this stream. So I don't know where that came from. T is not fully done yet. Okay. Well, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, T, when you're done with this part. I would love to hear that. And same with you, Star-Lord. Surf Ninja sequel? That's going to be the next show we're going to get on Netflix. It's going to be a show that is going to be revisiting the Surf Ninjas franchise. And yeah. Because right now, Rob Schneider's not doing anything, right? So he might as well have something to attach to. Oh, wait, he is doing something. He's getting booed off stage. All right, so let's talk about Hot D. Yeah, Starlord, I heard like a recent gig that he was paid to do. He was booed off stage. This was maybe like 3 weeks ago or something like that. I'm sure you could look it up. You could Google it. It was like a corporate gig or something like that. It was crazy to hear about that. All right. So, House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 6. This episode title was Small Folk. And, you know, they were basically teasing so far in this season that, yes, the war is going to be dictated a lot by dragons, right? And who control the most dragons and which dragon can really, really do well. But another thing that they hinted on was that it could also be controlled by the townsfolk, by the little people, by the commoners, because we are seeing how they're being treated very badly on King's Landing and how Team Green really is not paying a lot of attention to these people, right? Very different from when Viserys was king, because he was very, very kind and mindful to the small folk. And we're seeing the complete opposite here with lack of food, lack of resources, lack of medicine, lack of money, lack of everything, basically, you know, and it was eventually going to happen sooner rather than later that eventually there's going to be some sort of uprising. And that is something that we saw in this episode here. So I'm going to just go through some of my notes that I've taken here. One of the coolest things to see at the beginning of the show was we had a tapestry change, right? Where we saw the two dragons, one for the king and one for Melis, and how in the middle, I believe that may have been Aemond in the middle there, but we saw the falling of the two dragons. Aegon and Rhaenyra are sharing one panel now on the tapestry, even though they're still on separate thrones. But they definitely highlighted the fall of Aegon in this tapestry. Also, instead of blood bleeding towards the tapestry, we're seeing black ink this time, which I thought was very interesting. And I think that is to kind of symbolize how Team Black is suffering, and they're kind of like they're losing a lot recently. So that's kind of showing like how they're bleeding badly. Stars, they must be because he's talking trash about Will Smith. Just too many negative vibes. If they are so funny, why are they so serious? It's interesting because it's comedians sometimes when they get older, they talk about different things, right? Or when they feel more comfortable talking about other things and not knowing who the crowd is. I mean, we've seen Chappelle do that. We've seen so many comics in the past do that, and they end up getting canceled or whatever. Again, I wasn't there, so I don't know, but it's just interesting to hear about those kinds of things. So one of the things we saw was that Lannisters finally showed up. And it's funny how even though they are like the richest house in Westeros, they're also, and I don't know how well they are fighting wise during this period, but I love how they're like, well, we're not going to move forward or do anything until Aemon and Vhagar join in. So let us know when they come back, because otherwise we're just going to be hanging out here before we move forward on anything like that. So I thought that was very interesting. But it does look like they're looking to take the war to the Riverlands. There was a talk about a triarchy of individual kind of towns and houses that could make or break a difference within the Riverlands War. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Aemon really wants to put pressure on Daemon. So it looks like, that's why they're slowly marching through the Riverlands in order to take Hammerhall head on. Which now could be a perfect opportunity, because Daemon right now is not having a good time. That dude is being haunted and is having a lot of conflicts because of his guilt of everything that he's done in the past. And this episode highlighted a lot of that stuff. One of the saddest parts of this episode is when Aemon dismisses his mom, Alicent, from the council. And you could see, and we've already been seeing it with every episode, how Alicent has been slowly, and I'm sorry, you know what? I should put up spoilers here, because I am going to be freely talking about spoilers. So I apologize to anyone who hasn't seen this episode yet, but that is your warning that I'll be talking about spoilers here. But we've been already seeing how Alicent is slowly losing control over her grasp of the throne, of the decisions that are made during her son's kingship. Especially when at one point she was kind of heading up the throne when Viserys was kind of dying and all that. So they did this one shot after you see this very sad conversation between Aemon and his mom. And basically Aemon's like, I just don't need you around anymore. What you did before was great and we are thankful for it, but this is beyond you now. And he had a line which was so hurtful, where he basically told his mom that she must return to more domestic pursuits. So basically, stop trying to pretend like you are looking at making a difference here in this console. Maybe you should just go back and just be a mom, right? And that was very sad. And you saw there was this one great shot, once again, very similar to the shot that we saw her in the last episode when she was just sitting at the table and you just heard her breathing. Now we just see her standing all alone. You could see her silhouette and you hear the breathing again. And this was basically just stating and displaying how alone Allison is right now. And you could kind of see that because of this, she, throughout the rest of the episode, she was very much looking back and wondering how good of a mom she is and how important family is. And right now, there's a lot of that missing. And she's trying to see what she can do to kind of recapture all of that. It was nice to see Corlys accept the role of hand to Rhaenyra. So I thought that was great to see. Let's see. When she brought up her idea that she was going to look for someone within the Targaryen bloodline to take on the dragons and be new dragon riders, it was nice to see like the reaction from the council, kind of looking at her like she was crazy. Like, what are you talking about, lady? And then she appoints this one guy and say, you have a long bloodline within the Targaryen family, and I would love for you to try to bond with Sea Smoke. And he was all about it. He's like, I will do whatever it is to make you happy and to do this, to please the crown and all that. Then again, like I said, we see Daemon just going through a lot of moments of his past haunting him. The whole heir for a day thing with his brother and how he's reliving that moment. And this moment was very much different from how it actually happened because, Viserys never cried. He didn't look like he was sad in ousting Daemon from his rightful heir, from his rightful claimership to the throne, from being a brother in general. I believe when it happened in real life in the past season, he was very angry. He was very visceral about it. Here, it's like it was breaking his heart. But I think that's more of what Aemon felt. That's more what Daemon felt himself. He felt it was such a sad moment and he messed that opportunity up. And we could really see that Daemon is really losing it. And is this a result of what Alice is maybe doing to him? Or is this a result of really, truly his past haunting him? Maybe because of, the tree that his bed is made of is making him realize a lot of these things. Who knows? It could be a supernatural thing at play here. But it's very, very interesting to see all of this come into light and into fruition. Then he has this very interesting conversation with Alice, where you could kind of see he's seeking for assistance and counsel. And, she's always been very blunt with him and very honest. And, she's basically telling him that, Rhaenyra never really wanted the crown. It was just something that her dad ended up wanting to give her. And maybe that's why she was chosen, is because she didn't seek it. She wasn't like obsessed with it. Not like how Daemon was. Daemon was just like, obsessed and fiending for it, fiending to want to be the next person in line. And she said this great line too, that it's not a prize, but it's a burden to those who ends up becoming king of Westeros. So I love how she's kind of like telling Daemon all of these things. And Alice ends up counseling Daemon, say, hey, you know what? Don't do anything just yet. Wait a couple of days. You'll see what will happen. And things will help turn the tide and all that. So we get to see the dragon bonding ceremony. Sea Smoke, I think, kind of played us, kind of trolled them there, because at one point Sea Smoke looked like they were accepting to, okay, yeah, I'll take on this new dragon rider. And just in the last second, you're like, nope, kidding. Wah! And he had himself a barbecue. So I thought that was really, really funny. We also get to see the effects of the rumors spreading around in the small folk about how badly they were being treated by their current king, and how Rhaenyra is still thinking about them and caring for them. And one thing that was very interesting that we saw was Rhaenyra and the White Worm, as I like to call her. They come up with this idea to send boatloads of food, multiple boats of food, into King's Landing with the black flag on the boats, kind of telling the small folk, Rhaenyra, the proper queen, is still thinking of the small folk, very much different from what the current king is doing. So she still has the back of the small folk, and I thought that was again, this episode had a lot of the politics playing out in front of us. All the results of all the rumor spreading, the propaganda, and we're seeing how it's working, how it's really falling in line with everything around. And it's chess. It's all chess. So it was very, very interesting to see all of that going on. And one thing that she also mentioned to Rhaenyra is that, when Rhaenyra, sorry, I should say that, not Rhaenys. Don't get confused with all of these people. But when she was holding the sword, she's like, hey, you know what? That suits you. You look good like that. So could we potentially be seeing, maybe, despite her console going against it, maybe we're going to see Rhaenyra joining them in battle at the end of the day. It'll be interesting to see. Larys is up to his good old bad ways in trying to weasel his way to be the right hand of Aemon. Aemon calls him out on it. Basically, he says, I'm not having your shit. And why don't you make yourself useful and go fetch Otto Hightower for me, because I want him to be the proper hand. And you could see Larys was very affected by that. We saw Aegon waking up for the first time, and obviously Aemon is not pleased that he is recovering very quickly. Had a little confrontation with his brother, basically reminding him, don't be foolish. It was foolish for him to take on Meleys straight on. And you could tell Aegon is aware of what's going on. And he basically, first things out of his mouth was, I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. And Aemon is basically sending him a message saying, yeah, keep it that way, or else this will be the end of you. Also, I do question that they may be prolonging his recovery. Aemon may have instructed the Maester to do something like that. I don't know. It kind of feels that way. We also get to see Rhaena with the little boys and her little dragons off in this little part of the world where she is. And she comes across this giant field that looks like it was demolished by a dragon, which hints that we could be potentially seeing one of the wild dragons. And that is Cannibal, Sheep Eater, that I kind of mentioned in a previous stream. So I thought that was very, very interesting that they were hinting on that. And my speculation, would Rhaena try to maybe tame Cannibal? Who knows? But she wants a dragon. She wants it badly. So who knows? We'll see. It's also kind of sad to see that they were instructed to go there to get away from the side effects or the after effects of Dragon Battle and Dragon War, only to find out that they are now going to be threatened by this wild dragon that doesn't seem to care about any alliances or bonds. Dragons just be dragon. So now she also looks like she's very worried and concerned about her life there and for the kids that she's with. Getting back to the chat before I continue with this, Star saying Dave Chappelle is still funny, even funnier, but even I just don't follow controversies. I do think he's funny, but I also feel like he's using his current specials to clap back at people instead of just being, telling jokes. People still don't forgive Michael Richards when he recently returned to the talk show. I mean, that was really bad what he said, though. So I kind of understand that. He said he literally canceled himself. I think he was also going through some mental problems at the time, some mental issues. So Arnold in the vertical chat, Sea Smoke was hungry. Definitely was. Did you know that it's possible that we get a series after Game of Thrones? Because there are a few dragons that survived the Dance of Dragons. They're working on so many spin-offs right now. It's hard to know what's going to come next. But there's multiple series I think they're working on. The place where they burn reminded me a lot of Samurai Tradition. The one guy killed himself. Oh, I did. That was really great to see also. That as this guy was being burned to toast, burnt to a crisp, he took a dagger in his last breathing breaths and slit his throat. Kind of like, very much like in a Samurai Tradition. It's like, I'd rather take myself out than suffer this way, right? So Arnold, don't spoil it. because I know you were a fan of the books. Again, allow me to speculate. I know you know what's going to happen, but he's saying that cannibal is not going to be claimed. Told you because I read the books. Yes, we know, Arnold, but don't spoil it. Let me have my fun until it's revealed. T saying Dance with the Dragon is going to be fun. I think so too. Star said, yeah, he said he was in his Kramer character, so he reacted like an idiot. Yeah, I think he was just going through some mental stuff at that time. But, you know, unfortunately, when you're in the public eye like that, you have to be mindful of what you say out loud and what you say in public. So that's just how it is. All right, moving on into more about this episode. We get to see more and more signs that Alan and his brother Adam are indeed bastard sons of Corlys. We see that Alan is purposely shaving his head to kind of get away from that tie, because we could see the follicles coming out that are very much the same color as his dad's hair is. So I feel like he's doing that on purpose to kind of avoid the tie and the bond that he has with his dad, because not everyone knows that he is a bastard son and all that. And you know, kind of just, I said this too, it's interesting that we're spending so much time with Alan and Adam that I feel like eventually these guys are going to be very important in the show moving forward. And we get to see that later on in the episode. I wrote down in my notes, they could have potential in being dragon riders. And I think we found out later on at the end of the episode what exactly is happening. So I mentioned the whole thing about the boats of food showing up. This leads to a major uproar and riot in King's Landing. Also, it was told to Alicent that Otto cannot be found anywhere. Otto is unknown where Otto is right now. So the more Alicent is feeling lonely, because not only is she not wanted in the council of the king, she is not really wanted by any of her children right now. Her dad is nowhere to be found. Christian Cole is not even paying attention to her that much anymore. The only other family member that's somewhat paying attention to her is her own brother. And they had a very interesting conversation between the two there, where she asked about her son that was kind of sent away, because she has no knowledge about her son and how he's growing up. And this is where she kind of asks and kind of, you know, wonders if she is a good mom overall. One of the cool things that one of the small folks said when they were having the food and when they were getting all the food is that she thinks of us even now. And I feel like that's going to be like a battle cry with the small folk. We also see it was a very interesting dynamic and contrast, seeing Alicent with her daughter in this moment of solitude where they're supposed to be able to be free, not being free anymore, and now running through the streets of King's Landing with the small folk opposing her and really angry at her, where just in a couple of episodes ago or 3 episodes ago, they were in mourning for her loss of her child. So you could see how very quickly the tide can turn. So it was very, very interesting to see that, and basically seeing Alicent scared and running for her life with her daughter there. So you hear people chanting, "Long live Queen Rhaenyra, long live Queen Rhaenyra." So I thought that was very, very interesting to see. Then we see Larys. And the guy who plays Larys, I want to pull up his name, because this is probably some of the best acting I've seen this guy do. Let's see here. I want to give proper respect to this guy, because the acting, this guy is acting his ass off in this one particular scene. Let's see. Where is he? Where are you? Where are you? Larys. Let's see. Let me just write down Larys House of the Dragon. Actor. There we go. Matthew Needham. This one particular scene, if he was to ever be nominated for an Emmy, they're probably going to use a clip from this particular scene, because he's sitting down with Aegon. And because he sees Aegon, half the face burnt up, cannot open his one eye, he's going to end up becoming crippled like he is. he's basically trying to relate to him and say, I know how it's like to kind of be looked at, laughed at, questioned. That's why the most important asset that you have right now is your mind, because that's the best way to have people underestimate you. And that's when you're going to attack full on with your decisions and kind of your wits and all that. And you could tell that he's kind of trying to weasel his way into the best eyes of Aegon, so that he could, if Aegon is able to recover and take back the throne, he's going to be able to be in good favor with Aegon and maybe end up becoming the right hand of Aegon himself, right? So he's basically telling Aegon, your life is in danger. Basically, if the longer you survive and the longer you live, Aemon will see you as a threat, right? And you could see, like, not only is Aegon suffering, and Larys is purposely keeping away the milk of the poppy from him that will help ease his pain. He's like, this weakens your brain, so you have to try to be strong so that your mind is strong. And you could see, like, in this moment of pain, he's reaching out to Larys and basically asking Larys to help him. And you see Larys, you see his face, and you see, like, there's this little tiny grin there. And he's like, oh man, I got him. He's like, I got it. So that was very, very interesting to see. We get to see another vision of Daemon and his brother when the brother's wife passed away while giving childbirth. And this was a moment that Daemon was not a part of. He was supposed to be there, but he never showed up. So in a way, he's kind of, facing this past that he's haunted about. And in his own way, he is showing that he is there and that he really wanted to be there, and kind of gets a chance to finally comfort his brother Viserys, and he apologizes on all that. And this is the first time that we've seen Daemon acknowledge any kind of wrongdoing, where he apologized for not being the brother he should have been. And I feel like that's really, really interesting to see. Plus, I have to say, it was so amazing to see Paddy Considine back. He is such a great actor, and he was so good in the first season. So it was really amazing to see him come back for this episode. And then we find out that, the one of the houses that he's trying to get an alliance with, that was kind of hesitant, that person died, and it turns out that Alice may had something to do with it. So that was very interesting. So you could see, like, Alice is really helping Daemon there. So that's interesting. We might see more and more of that. It might end up becoming a partnership, very much like what we saw in the original Game of Thrones with that other witch that was kind of helping out, and all. So I feel I get the same vibes coming on here. So now we get Sea Smoke, this big, big, amazing scene with Sea Smoke. And it was alluded to earlier in the episode that Sea Smoke is missing his bond. Like, it sounds like Sea Smoke is lonely too. There's another common thread that is people who are feeling alone. So Sea Smoke is definitely missing the bond with, his previous writer, who we know kind of left and, went into hiding, kind of vacated everything in order for his own safety. So Sea Smoke is now on its own seeking out a writer, seeking out another bond. And who does he seek out? Looks like it's Alan's brother. So we hear at the end of the episode that Sea Smoke has been seen flying around and with a new writer. So we saw, Rhaenyra very, very interested and curious as to how that happens. But before that, we get to see a very interesting conversation with the White Worm and the Queen. And I knew this was going to happen. I had a strong suspicion that there was going to be some sort of budding romance going on between these two, because she's the only one that sees Rhaenyra as the queen that she should be seen as. She gets all the respect. She gives her all the proper due. She doesn't get any of this from any of her own council. Right? We saw her previously smack some dude in the face, a member of her council, because he just keeps saying, oh, well, that was an interesting choice. It didn't work out. I knew it was going to be wrong. Basically saying, bad decision, bad decision, bad decision. You're crazy. You don't know what you're doing. And she's been getting that this whole time. But she never has gotten this from her. And Sonoya Mizuno has been doing an excellent job in her role here. And she constantly says that, I see you as very steadfast. You are the person that's going to bring a lot of balance to the throne. And this is what we're currently missing right now. And that's why I follow you. And that's why everyone else will follow you, because you do have that in you. And because of that, one hug turned into a big smooch fest. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen from there. And that's one thing that I do know was not in the books, right? That's something that they actually improvised for the show. So that's going to be interesting to see. And then, of course, they were interrupted with the news that Seasmoke has a new writer. And I think because of this, that's making Rhaenyra very confident that the tide could be turning in her favor, because that means she has another dragon rider at her side. But who is this mysterious dragon rider? Because she doesn't know yet. And it looks like that's what we're going to get in the next episode. And will there be an allegiance? Will there be an alliance with Adam and the Blacks, Team Black? I guess we will see. We will see what happened. What will happen with Corlys and Alan? We don't know. There's a lot to be said and a lot to be seen here. So I love this episode. I would give this episode 4 out of 5 stars on the Letterboxd scale. Again, you see the politics happening. You see the propaganda. You see the chess pieces moving. Not every episode has to be battles and wars, even though those are fantastic. But the one thing that's always been fascinating about Game of Thrones is the politics. And it's so fun to see it all being played out here. We're seeing how things are changing in just episodes. Previous episodes, the small folk were mourning the death of Alicent's grandson, I should say, the queen's son, right? And then literally episodes later, they're now against her, calling her the queen of fish, because that's all they ever eat. There's not enough food out in the streets. So yeah, it's this season is doing a great job so far, and it's making me very excited to see what's going to come next. So only 2 more episodes left. That's it. Only 8 episodes in total. And if you saw that the new trailer for the remainder of the season, they keep harping on that too. 2 episodes left. 2 episodes left. House of the Dragon. Let's go. So yeah. So I love this episode. I thought it was great. Let me know what your thoughts are of this episode in the comments. Would love to hear it, and would love to hear if you guys are enjoying this season so far. Okay, back to the vertical chat. Arnold saying, bro, you could see it in the trailer that he going to claim Vermitor. But it's possible that we're going to see Cannibal after the Dance of Dragon. Cannibal can eat a lot of dead dragons. Dead dragons, lambs, whatever he could get his hands on, right? I want to see the Vermitor scene at last. So Arnold is super excited for more dragon action. Dragon action. Let's get it. Star-Lord, let's see. Question is, should we forgive people even after 15 years? Don't make friends with the world. Apparently they are slow to forgive, not talking about a group, but the entire world. The public eye. Well, I think always in time, forgiveness can be had. It's always about the severity of what you've done. Hollywood and the business can be very forgiving. Look at what's happening with Mel Gibson. Kevin Spacey is taking longer, I think. And also look at Roman Polanski. He has never been able to come back, right? So there's just a lot of different things. Woody Allen is being very under the radar these days because of the last allegations that we saw with that documentary on HBO. So it depends. It all depends on the severity of what that person did. But I think everyone deserves a second chance, as long as it's genuine, that they atone for their mistakes and all. T say it's great. T's enjoying House of the Dragon. Star was saying it's like Lord of the Rings. Very much so. Except there's definitely more sex and more debauchery that happens on this show. You wear that round thing on your finger, you will make mistakes and it will betray you. Speaking of Lord of the Rings, is anyone looking forward to this next season of Rings of Power that we're getting later this year? I'm curious. I feel like the more and more I see things about it, the more or less interested I am. Even though I kind of liked season 1 and how it ended. Arnold, I don't spoil, but you'll wonder how a very specific character dies. Who they do it according to the books. This is the biggest WTF moment from the whole series. Well, I can't wait to see what that is. I can't wait to see what that could be. For sure. I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it overall. Big time. Quick reminder to everyone watching live again, if you haven't done so yet, don't forget, hit that like button. Everyone here will greatly appreciate it. You'll put a lot of big smiles to everyone's faces. And don't forget, cast your vote in the poll. Will Deadpool and Wolverine be the highest grossing film of this year? Let us know. And I'll discuss the results when the stream is coming to an end. So with the last 2 episodes coming up for House of the Dragon, what are some of the things that we're hoping that we can see before the season ends? What are some of the things that are kind of lingering right now? What would you love to see before we take a break to season 3? Because knowing how they are, we're probably not going to get season 3 for like another 2 years, right? So the world anonymously whispers, I see you. Cannibal kind of represents in ways black versus green and a little more that may head into spoiler area. T, did you read the books too? Have you read the books? It sounds like you sound very much like Arnold. Like, I think you've read the books, right? Arnold saying a new Lord of the Rings movie would be nice. Well, they are coming out with an animated movie this year that is supposed to be centered around the Rohirrim. So again, I don't know how well that's going to be or how good that's going to be, but I'm curious to check it out. And we are going to get a new anthology series of movies from Peter Jackson. That was announced also previously with, who's that? The guy who played Gollum. I forget the actor's name right now, but he's going to be directing the first one. And funny enough, it's going to be a movie about Gollum. So it's coming. It's coming because, you know, Warner Brothers would love to get another franchise going under their belts. T has read the books. Okay, that's good to know. Star-Lord not talking about House of Dragon. I don't like House of Dragons. We already have House of Many Dragons. Star-Lord is on this crazy ranting mode today. I love it. It's just a lot of random rants. I love it. Give me 1 second, guys. I am just checking my phone to make sure that the world around us isn't burning up. Because as we've seen in the past, anything is possible, and anything and everything can happen. Arnold saying he knows, but can't say. Arnold would love to say so many things, but he can't. Yeah. I guess that's the downside of not being able to, you know, not having read the books. Now, I'm sure you guys know so much that's happening right now. But I'm enjoying learning and seeing everything revealed as I'm watching the show, you know, which is good. It's good that I'm still in it, you know, so. Star saying my Knight Rider has come out. He is the Knight Rider.
How about you thank them, dickless?
Oh shoot, I didn't mean to hit that twice, sorry. So I think obviously with the last 2 episodes left, We are going to learn where the allegiance falls with Adam. I think he's going to ask a lot from Rhaenyra, in my opinion, because I think he's all about recognition. That's what it looks like. That's why he keeps pushing Adam to, own who you are, own who your father is, right? And I think Adam is going to do a lot of that, possibly. I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm very curious as to what cliffhanger we're going to be left with. Arnold is saying that his ex's name can be Cannibal because she ate all of his money. Star-Lord saying, play it how you want it. I will say it how it is. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. That's what that kind of reminded me of. One of the funny moments from Caddyshack when they're all just start breaking out. It's like Rodney Dangerfield's like, let's dance. Oh, Jester's back. You unfortunately you missed the Cobra Kai discussion, and we're finishing up our House of the Dragon discussion. But with that being said, Jester, what are your thoughts on this part 1 of the final season? What did you think about it? Like, what stood out to you? My music doesn't phase the Knight Rider. I want to remove the spoiler label now off of the stream since we're pretty much done speaking about House of the Dragon there. But yeah, Jester, just let us know your thoughts. Try not to spoil too much too, because I think there are a couple of people here who haven't seen the whole part 1 yet. Okay, just a heads up, everyone. Jester, not your fault at all. There is a spoiler in his comments, so I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm just going to say that he likes Peyton's acting, which I agree. This is probably like the strongest acting I've seen her do throughout the entire season. Very filled with emotion, very, very filled with heartache, very, very, very important. But Jester also said that not happy with the Kreese storyline, and I agree too. I think that's some of the downside of this part 1, where this guy just doesn't seem to go away, and it's almost unbelievable how he keeps finding his way back into things, it's also, I love this one part. And this is not going to be much of a spoiler, but the creators of this show are huge Star Wars fans. And you can tell in every season, there's like a major Star Wars reference, right? This one, there's such a blaring reference to Empire Strikes Back and the trial that Luke had to go on for himself. We see Kreese going through the same thing, which is just so fascinating to me. But I do agree, the Kreese storyline is probably the weakest thing right now with this part 1. I also love, and this is something I mentioned before, my speculation is that what they found out about Miyagi is going to explain and tie into why in the new movie coming out next year, Daniel and Jackie Chan are teaming up. because of something that Miyagi may have done when he went to China, I think. Start saying, I must calm myself, do not center around my anxiety. Sun is warm, grass is green. Arnold saying, House of Dragon, NC. My name is Jeff. Kevin Davis is here. What's going on, Kevin? Twister's box office total run prediction, 250 to 350. Also says Deadpool and Wolverine domestic box office debut, 180 to 200 million. So yeah, so let's talk about that. So I think their domestic debut is going to be 120. I think 120, 130. Their worldwide, I think, debut will equal close to what you're saying, 180 to 200 million. It could be more than that. I think it would be fantastic if it is, but it's definitely going to be a crazy weekend this week for Deadpool and Wolverine. As far as Twister's overall run, I think Twisters will do even more than that because it's performing really well overseas. So I won't be surprised if I see it ending its full run around 400, 450. Arnold's going to bed. Everyone wish Arnold a good night. Arnold, you have a pleasant evening. And I can't wait to hang out with you again in a future stream. I will be back again on Wednesday, usual time, 3 p.m. We'll talk about like what we're speculating might happen at San Diego Comic-Con. Oh crap, are we about to get Jackie Chan in Cobra Kai? I think we're not going to get him on Cobra Kai, but it's going to lead into the movie, I think. Jackie Chan invented snake style, so Cobra Kai is really his legacy. That's pretty funny. Kevin Davis, if you're still there, did you have a chance to watch Twisters? And are you looking forward to watching Deadpool and Wolverine this week? Let us know. Also, one last reminder to everybody, please don't forget, hit that like button. Everyone here will be greatly appreciative of that, especially me. And don't forget, cast your vote in the poll before we end things, before the stream ends. I'll be on for like another 10 minutes before I head on out for the day. So let me know what else you guys want to talk about, or if you have any other comments on everything that we talked about today. For Wednesday's show, I am thinking like we could talk about like speculations as to what to expect from San Diego Comic-Con. Might be a good time to kind of recap a lot of the recent news based off of interviews that Kevin Feige has had recently. So I think there's a lot of things to look forward to. We're getting a new Joker 2 trailer tomorrow. So I think that will be fascinating to see what else we can see for this new movie that I'm looking forward to checking out this year. A lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of news dropping this week, for sure. A lot of news. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. When is the Marvel panel happening? Let's see. So let's see. I'm looking up the schedule for Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con. On Thursday, they're going to have a panel for their new video game Rivals, Marvel Rivals. And then also on Thursday at night, they're having the Ultimate Deadpool and Wolverine Celebration of Life panel, which is going to be interesting. Friday. Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is going to be when the Marvel Fanfare will happen with Kevin Feige. That's going to talk more about Marvel Comics, but afterwards, there's going to be a Marvel Oh, I'm sorry. What is Marvel fanfare? What does that even mean? I think they're talking more about comics during that one. Saturday, more comics up. Ah, here we go. So the main Marvel Studios presentation, that's going to talk about the movies, the TV shows, all that is happening on Saturday at 6 p.m. PST. So that's when I think a lot of the news is going to really drop from the Marvel side of things. So it's going to be really fascinating to see what they're going to reveal, what they're going to talk about. I think we're definitely going to hear more about Fantastic Four. I think we're definitely going to get the cast of Daredevil Born Again. Maybe a surprise update on Blade. I don't know. Maybe we'll get an idea as to what the new timeline is going to look like. But yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about on Wednesday. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. Star-Lord, also Eagle Fang is his legacy because of Snake in the Eagle's shadow. Jester, have I seen Boys season 4 yet? I haven't. No, I'm behind. I still have to finish season 3, I think. So I'm so behind on that. I know they just had their final episode recently for season 4. Jester, did you watch it? What did you think of it? T-Sane Cap trailer was not that great. I haven't seen it yet, believe it or not. I'm so behind on my trailers. But I have heard mixed things about it. Star saying Johnny Lawrence drinking habits is his legacy because of a drunken master. Oh boy. Here we go. Star-Lord full-on Knight Rider mode once again. Kevin Davis, San Diego Comic-Con prediction, Captain America forecast come out on stage, Thunderbolts teaser trailer, Fantastic Four cast announcement, Blade 4 going to get delayed again, Avengers 5 cast will be announced, Marvel Studios focus still going to be TV shows on Disney Plus, upcoming series, Agatha All Along, Daredevil Born Again, Ironheart, Wonder Man, and Nova. A lot of predictions there, Kevin Davis, from you. I don't necessarily disagree with some of that stuff, but I think they're going to shy away from saying that they're going to focus so much on TV. I think you're going to be seeing them focus more on the movies, to be honest, because I think they need that. They need, again, it's all about getting back in favor with the fan base. And I think right now the fan base needs to know that they have a grip on the movie side, because the TV, I think, are throwing the fan base off. Geek Ledger said, I'm so hyped for Comic-Con between potential Marvel announcements, more sneak peeks of DC's Absolute Universe, maybe a trailer for What If Season 3, and Creature Commandos. I would love to see a trailer for Creature Commandos coming out. Geek Ledger, I just found out when the Marvel panels are. Do you know when the DC panels are? But I am pretty hyped. This is a great time of the year because I love hearing all the news and all that. Jester saying, thought the first 4 episodes were all right, but I thought the last 4 episodes were great. Okay, so it picked up for you. That's good. So also Strike First, Strike Hard, No Mercy is his legacy because of Jackie's. Oh boy. I think Star-Lord is creating his own Cobra Kai universe where Jackie Chan is the center of it all. Geek Ledger says saw it on the DC's website. Let's see. Let's check it out. DC panel schedule for SDCC. All right. Let's see. DC is back. So Absolute panel is going to be on Thursday. Let's see. They're doing a special Harley Quinn and Kite Man panel on Friday. Adventures of Superman on Saturday. Superman and Lois also on Saturday. Let's see. Batman Cape Crusader also is going to have a panel. Oh, and they're doing a screening for people in attendance too. So we may be hearing about what people think of this new Cape Crusader, which I'm excited for. Penguin, for the HBO series, they'll have their panel also on Saturday. And Sunday, they're just having a book club panel. But are they having any like DCU panel? Let's see. Huh. It doesn't look like there is any special DCU panel happening at SDC at San Diego this year. Which leads me to think, could DC be bringing back, could they be bringing back their own presentation like they've done before? Like a DC Universe presentation? Because it looks like they're trying to keep quiet about, or they're to maybe some of their own presentations. I mean, Marvel needs it right now. Marvel needs the attention right now. They need, like I said before, and I've said this before, they need to get back in good favor with the audience. DC, people know that they're on a break right now, right? And they still have a little bit of time left. So maybe, like we've seen in the past, they may do their own thing. Maybe later this year. Geek Ledger said no DCU panels. They may be a generic DC animation panel with Creature Commandos could be added. Star saying Terry Silver is his legacy because Jackie Chan. Who am I? T saying Absolute Power is great. What is, can someone explain to me what Absolute Power is? Is that a DC Comics event happening right now? Because I don't read the comics. I apologize, but I would love to hear what it's about. Because already we have Geek Ledger and T very happy with Absolute Power. Starred Daniel being a wuss in his legacy because of Jackie Chan, Mr. Nice Guy. I hope you're writing down and you're creating a timeline for all of this. Geek Ledger saying, I'm really excited for DC's Absolute Universe. I know they've tried twice before with a modernized reboot universe like Marvel's Ultimate Universe. Oh, is that what's happening with Absolute Power? Are they doing like another New 52 kind of thing? Who's heading it up? What's going on, OP Gamer? English here, baby. What's going on, MI? Nice to see you back. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good time. A good day, I should say. Geek Ledger saying, no, it'll exist alongside the main Prime DC universe. Oh, so I get it. So, like Marvel and what they did with their Ultimate series, this is going to be like the DC Ultimate series. Scott Snyder is headlining it, huh? Huh. Interesting. Very, very interesting. OP, no one wants to play your game. I appreciate the comment, though. Am I saying Monday's never a good day? Not at work anyway. Oh, well, isn't that always how Mondays are? A broke Batman looking Jack? Really? I gotta look this up. Hold on, let me look this up. You guys are intriguing me with this whole Absolute Power thing. All right, let's see here. Absolute Power is a 2024 American comic book crossover storyline published by DC Comics, part of Dawn of DC Initiative, main limited series written by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. The event takes place in the aftermath of House of Brainiac. Huh. I'm just reading some of the information here. Premise: to neutralize the ability every metahuman around the world, Amanda Waller recruits Failsafe and the Brainiac Queen into the Suicide Squad, beginning a campaign of hate and fear over people. In response, the Justice League and the remaining heroes form a resistance. Huh. Gotham City Batman developed Failsafe, an AI robot with the Batman of Zur-Enar's personality, who's determined to eradicate all crime, even if that means not following his creator's moral code. He created his own army of Amazos to achieve his goal. He was defeated by Batman and his family, but Waller took Failsafe's body. Huh. Absolute power is separate from the absolute universe. The absolute universe is born after the climax of absolute power. Oh, I see. So maybe I should just look into absolute universe then. DC absolute universe. Oh, here we go. DC Comics has introduced the Absolute Universe, a new line featuring iconic characters. The first installment is Absolute Batman by Scott Snyder. The universe is tied to the main DC universe, allowing existing storylines to continue. Yeah, here it also says similar to Marvel's Ultimate Universe. Okay. Here we go. DC's new Absolute Universe introduces down and out versions of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Oh, wow. Huh. This looks really interesting. Are they going... again, I don't know much about this, but are they going to try to keep this separate? Or are they eventually going to have it tied in with the current DC line, with the current universe? Absolute Batman will be by Scott Snyder and Nick Dracota. Absolute Wonder Woman is by Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman. And Absolute Superman is by Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval. Oh, interesting. He even owns Daniel's car dealer because of Russia. Oh, jeez. The Knight Rider strikes again.
Yeah!
It will remain separate, but occasionally crossover for multiverse events. Got it. Okay. I hope they, you know, very much like Ultimates, I hope they do just keep it on its own for a while before they start venturing into crossover stuff. Because it does look fascinating to me. I'm a huge fan of kind of changing the perspective of a lot of these main characters. You know, that's one of the reasons why I really, really enjoyed like Red Sun Superman. And I think they did something similar with Batman too, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I love those type of storylines. You know, in a way, they're kind of like what ifs, right? Like, what if things were different? What if these guys did things differently? Geek Ledger saying, basically, Scott Snyder said it's based on the idea that the main DC universe was created by the sheer existence of Superman, and the DC universe wouldn't exist without Superman. So he's the one thing that like binds all of this together. Meanwhile, the Absolute Universe is based on Darkseid, and the universe is created when Darkseid energy is released into the multiverse. Huh. Fascinating. All right. And I'm sure eventually in time, within the Absolute Universe, they're going to be introducing other characters too, right? Like, we'll get our Green Lanterns, we'll get our Aquamans and our Flashes, maybe. Red Sun, great story. I love Red Sun. Red Sun is probably one of my favorite more modern day Superman stories. I love Red Sun. Such a great story. The last thing I read on the DC related was Batman 89. Was it 89? Yeah, Batman 89, which carries on the story of the idea they had for the Batman 89 sequel, the proper sequel, where Marlon Wayans was supposed to be Robin. That was a great read too. I really enjoyed that. I think they did the same thing with Superman, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't read that one yet. Started saying the Karate Kid should thank him, Dickless. Why don't you?
How about you thank them, Dickless?
Geek Ledger saying, so Darkseid will be the genesis of the absolute universe and imbue the universe with a darker outlook. So basically, it's like having Zack Snyder direct his movies, right? It's the Zack Snyderverse. T saying, I'm getting a Viking Deathstroke. Viking Deathstroke. Now that sounds pretty damn awesome. Star saying he owns John Kreese escaping from jail because of Jackie Chan's police story. Welcome to 6 Degrees of Jackie Chan within the Karate Kid universe. Basically, it asked the question, what if DC heroes didn't have the things that made them heroes? What would they be without that? If that was the tagline, or maybe that is, you just sold me. You just basically sold me with that tagline. Now, I'm probably not going to read it like issue after issue. What I tend to do is like I like to wait for the graphic novel to combine things. So this sounds like something I would love to eventually read. Geek Ledger explains Batman, no money, no Alfred. Superman, no Kents, no knowledge of Krypton. Wonder Woman, no Amazons or Paradise Island. Jeez. The more and more this sounds fascinating to me. This starts later this year? Yeah, Absolute Batman #1 is this October. This sounds like, oh man. You guys really convinced me. You guys really convinced me. I'm like super excited for this to come out now. I wouldn't mind reading this. And I haven't read comics in a very, very, very long time. So to me, this all sounds extremely fascinating. See, now something that I wasn't really, or wasn't on my radar for San Diego Comic-Con, now I'll be keeping my eye out and my ears open to that panel that DC is going to have on Thursday. Because for me, that looks like that's going to be a ton of fun. All right, y'all. I'm gonna, let's say 5 more minutes. So anything else you want to say or talk about, let me know now. I guess now is a great time to end the polls. So I'm going to do that right now, and let's recap what everyone thinks. And I think everyone's basically within the same mindset and within alignment with each other. Where, let's see, let's just wait for things to refresh. Starlord saying, head out, eat soon, starving. Jackie Chan has drained his energy, everybody. Starlord, you know it's always a pleasure having you here. Glad to spend the Monday with you, at least a bit of it with you. Hope you have a good meal. Enjoy your food and enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Yeah, Jackie Chan has defeated the Knight Rider, everybody. So on the traditional horizontal stream, out of 9 votes, 77% says Deadpool and Wolverine will be the top grossing movie of 2024. I'm waiting for the final vertical stream results here as soon as it refreshes. So give me a moment and then we'll close up shop. Again, really huge pleasure and thank you for everyone who decided to join in on the stream today. I always have fun talking to you guys about things. Thank you to Geek Ledger and T for introducing me now to, or at least putting on my radar, Absolute Universe. It sounds so fascinating to me that I feel like I need to know more about it. So I can't wait to hear more about it and then eventually check it out when it comes out, because that sounds all very fascinating to me. While I wait for the vertical stream results to show up, let me just quickly shout out again, Star-Lord, T. I'm very thankful for you guys as always. Jester, always a pleasure having you part of these streams. Very happy for all of your support and always the fun conversations over at Vertical. Huge shout out to Geek Ledger, to Kevin Davis as always, Arnold. Always a pleasure having you guys show up. Scorched from earlier. Jackleston, Michael Jackleston, a new viewer to the channel. Hopefully I get to see that person again soon. Tiny Gucci, nice little shout out from earlier in the stream. Great seeing you here. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody else. But if I did, it's not intentional. But I also will shout out the lurkers. Those of you who watch and decide not to leave any comment, you are all equally as loved, just like everybody else. So, always a pleasure to have all of you guys here on the stream with me. Star-Lord shouting me back out. Watch Octo Cruel. You haven't convinced me to. How was the Weird Science episode? Hopefully Star can let me know that before he goes out and grabs some food. Also, I don't know why the vertical stream, why the poll is not refreshing the final tally. Oh, there we go. Wow, that took a while. So out of 25 votes, 68% says yes, Deadpool and Wolverine will be the highest grossing movie of 2024. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement that that's going to be a major, major movie this year. And I can't wait to see the results. I can't wait to see it. I can't believe that this is the week we're finally going to get to see this movie. So Thursday is going to be very exciting for me. Geek Ledger, no need to apologize. I'm wrapping things up. So I just, shouting out everybody and thanking everyone for joining in. And my dad saying, is that the Weird Science TV series with the woman from Kingpin in it? Remember that series? It only lasted a season. But I can't believe they tried to make that into a TV series. It's so bizarre. But no, apparently this channel that Star-Lord watches, they're younger, I guess, and they react to things that they watch for the first time. And the last episode they uploaded, they were reacting to the original 80s movies that they have watched for the first time. So that's what Star-Lord was referencing. But my God, remember that show? Oh my gosh. I feel like I kind of want to watch it now, just to remind myself of how bad it was. Geek Ledger said, anyway, I'm probably going to pick up the first issue of all 3 Absolute runs. And if they grab me, I'll keep picking them up. Also, did I watch Reverse Flash Scene? Oh, I haven't yet. Thank you for reminding me about that. I'm going to... I know you were talking about that last time. I always need reminders, guys, because my mind is just always very much scrambled. But I'm going to check that out. Reverse Flash TV Scene. And that was from the final season, right, Geek Ledger? I do want to check that out because it does sound interesting to me. Vanessa Angel, yes, that's correct. So, okay, how about this? I saw the reaction to E.T. It was amazing. If you see it and you will become loved by all ETs, and they will hail you as their King LOWKEY ET.
Wow.
Star-Lord, I'm writing it down. Octo Cruel. That's a play on that Mario character, isn't it? Isn't Octo Cruel a Mario villain? Like a Mario character? E.T. reaction. Season 8 for The Flash. All right. I will watch these by Wednesday. I will talk about these. Star-Lord, maybe not so much about your Octo Cruel guys, but maybe I'll think about it. I'll think about it. All right, everybody. I'm going to head on out for the rest of the day. Enjoy your days. Have a wonderful evening. Wonderful day. I will see you guys again on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll talk more about our speculations and expectations of San Diego Comic-Con. Plus, I will review all the latest Marvel, DC, comic book, movie news, all those things like that. We'll have a fun conversation, and we'll get ourselves ready for San Diego Comic-Con. So with all that being said, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. I will catch you all next time. Peace out. Bye, everybody. Thank you again. Appreciate